Listen to me, please. As I'm speaking to you right now, the spirit of the word I'm teaching is jumping into you. What do I mean? I'm not just sharing with you what I know, but what I experience of the things which both Jesus began to do and to teach. I have observed whether word ministry or music ministry or other areas of ministry, we are losing ground very fast because voices are no more there. What we have is noises. It's not hard to find noises. Where are the voices of our time? And noises are prevailing because voices are fading. God sends voices to silence noises. God is a voice. Satan is a noise. Satan is a camouflage. God is the original. Why are people seeking after other gods today? Because the voice of the real God is no more heard. Why are people having alternatives today, including members in the church who go after other sources to help themselves out? Because the voice that should come to them very clearly no longer exists or is fading off. Everyone that God called, he gave them a voice. John the Baptist was a voice. Elijah was a voice. As a matter of fact, if you don't have a voice, you better tell God you are resigning from ministry, because you'll be messed up. You'll meet with noises that will drive you back. You know, if you don't know your backing, you'll be sent back. If you don't know your collar, you will end in a corner. You think the enemy will want you to go anyhow? He will corner you somewhere. Ministry is about God's calling and raising of voices. Everyone he called, he intended that each of them would be not just a voice, but a very distinct voice. That the identity will be so clear, you are not just one of them, you are a single person. One that is not mistaken to be like others. Ministry is not emotion, but ministry should be felt, at least in your neighborhood, your immediate and far neighborhood. And I mean a sounding voice from wherever you are. Sound. You are sounding 100 kilometers away. You are sounding 1,000 kilometers away. Some years back, I was just in my office, and then they walked up a man that wanted to see me. And what was it? He said, according to his narration, about 150 kilometers away from where I was, he was going to make some charms. And he heard my voice say, "Go back or you die." And the Lord said to me, "That's the coverage of your territory." God said to me, he was misbehaving, so your spirit caught him. That's what we are called to do. Not that in your neighborhood, nobody feels you and your ministry. A few months ago, the Lord told me, he said, don't just tell people what you know, but what you do. What you do. Because that's what impacts them with life. I'm not appealing to your brain or your mind, but I'm injecting life into your spirit man. Amen. And if you are receiving it, say, I receive it. I receive it. Do you know that after now, you will not need self-introduction again? Amen. Everywhere people ask me, what's your name? I tell them, my name is David Abioye. Why do they ask? There's something they see. There's something they feel. Some years back, I boarded a flight, and the air host came to me and said, "Sir, may I know you?" I said, "What about that?" He said, "When you enter, something entered with you." He said, "When you entered, I felt something." Why are people no longer feeling us? Even messing us up? Why they are abusing our God when we are there? Could that have happened at Elijah's time? And you go free? Could that have happened when Jesus was here? When demons just heard about his coming and they started clearing off. They were casting themselves out. They were not waiting for Jesus to cast them out. Now we spend hours casting out devils, and they are querying you. Who are you? What's your name? What power do you have? That shows to us our level. We should get back to where we belong. No minister is worth the name to be called a minister if it's not a voice. Your recognition is not your introduction. Your recognition is your voice. Our calling is not noise making. It's not even similar voice to anyone around us. Your voice should not be the same as my voice. Your voice should be as distinguished as mine. Permit me to make an example. I'm not the ultimate voice, and I can't be. But you can be a voice while I am a voice, while other person is a voice in your own class. Don't you see in the world of academics? Doctors and professors are in their different fields. You can't copy being a professor. You grow through the rank, and then because you have a voice, they now call you professor. Your title should be a validation of your voice, not the other way around. From this day, you will graduate from being a noise to a voice. Without a voice, there is no ministry. And without a voice, a minister is void and empty. And you know, as the saying goes, empty barrels make the loudest noise. I'm sure we have all heard that before. You will no longer be a noisemaker. Have you observed in scriptures that what makes news is voice? Voices speak less, but noises create nuisance. Look at Elijah, for instance. I counted the number of words that Elijah used to stop the rain. 25. He didn't say, "Thus saith the Lord," because he was operating by the voice of the Lord. "By my word, there shall not be rain." For 36 months, there was no rain. One man stood as a voice. Where are we? Where are we? Where are those who will stand on the behalf of God and speak over the nations, and speak over the provinces, and speak over their cities, and it is confirmed? You know why the noises of men and evil is prevailing? Because our voice has gone low. They even castigate us today when we want to speak. You see, we are being told to be silent so that they can be making noise. Even in our neighborhood, when they are making noise, nobody complains. But when the church is praying loud, they say, "Oh, they are disturbing us. Oh, they are disturbing us." And truly we are disturbing them. Let's disturb them more. I was asking the Lord a few days ago, I said, "Lord, why do you want me to travel around? I'm not in search of knowing the towns and cities and nations." And he said to me, "You have to go around." Among other reasons, he said, "It is because it is only whithersoever the sole of your feet shall tread upon that shall be given." He said, Jesus went round. You have to go round. He said to me, "You have to appear in cities to cry out," according to Isaiah chapter 40. I think verse 8 there. He said, "Tell all them to behold." He said, "Cry out with your loud voice." All of the great patriarchs operated by voice. Find that story of Elijah in 1 Kings chapter 17 verse 1. The first introduction of Elijah was introduction of a voice. Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab, "As the Lord God of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my voice." When the voice sounds on heart, God confirms it in heaven. What about Moses? He challenged Egypt. A former fugitive, declared wanted. He challenged Egypt, the superpower of that time, saying, "Let my people go. Let them go." And that voice terminated for 430 years of their sojourn in that land. The last 30 years characterized by slavery. They were to live 400 years, but because there was no voice, 30 years were added. You know why many people are suffering under us? We have not grown up to be the voice that will terminate their oppression. You think God called you into ministry to be dressing, move around carelessly? He called you because of certain individuals. We should better wake up and let our voice be heard by their oppressors. Look at this. One man, as it is speculated, to 3 million people. So, at the peak of our activities in ministry, you are expected to at least reach out to 3 million people with life. Elijah's voice subdued a whole nation. What are we doing in our communities? Church services is not about having fun. It is to make people hear the voice of God for their transformation. And for the devils that push them into the church to know that they have found the shepherd. You say about Joshua, a man who stopped the sun and the moon from their routine motion. Joshua chapter 10 verses 12 and 13. Sun, stop! Moon, stopped. Until the activity was over. A few decades ago, I was in a ministers' conference convened by one great son of God in Africa, Benson Diaosa, of blessed memory. The cloud was gathering, and they said to the cloud, come on, move from there. And there was no rain. And I caught that in my spirit. Got back home, and I asked my wife, has it rained here? He said, no. And as they gave me the microphone, I met them in the service. I said, wherever you are, the next 24 hours, be careful of your movement, because rain is coming. A few of the leaders in the church convened a meeting after the service. I said, sir, you know, statements like these, you have to say it among few of us. So in case it does not happen. But there was one little girl who believed, got back home and told the father, our pastor said there will be rain tomorrow, so we should move carefully. 20 hours after the rain came. Because it was a voice. We should get to a point where you'll be terminating sickness at a natural frequency. Somebody was brought to me who was said to have, brain tumor and was going to be operated the following morning. And when they came, I said, go and return with your testimony. And the man looked at the person who brought him. He said, is that all? They told, that's all. You see, voice is never long. Voice is a messenger. You sent it. So when he said he sent his word, it means he sent his voice. They got on the following day for pre-surgery test. They kept busy looking for the tumor. Tumor had the voice. Co-ministers, pastors, evangelists, prophets, apostles. God called you to be a voice. Don't reduce yourself to a noise. You know what God told Jesus when the heaven was open in Luke chapter 9? This is my beloved son. Hear ye him. Hear ye him. Obey him. Ministers are sent to be obeyed. They are sent to. In ministry, we are not appealing for things to happen. We are declaring things to happen. For he confirmed the voice of his servant and performs the counsel of his messenger. I tell you, when I tell you it is well with you, go and sleep, because it must be well with you. A young man was said to have stones in his kidney, and he was going for surgery about 2-3 days after. And I said to him, just go, you are healed. He got there. They were in pre-surgery test looking for these kidney stones. They couldn't find. And he believed so much, he was teasing them. He said, check here. Check here. You know why many people don't believe in us? Because our word is not a voice. What I'm talking about goes to the extent that when people hear you, they just automatically believed. The voice of the Lord imparts faith. Otherwise, how can somebody be told, or some people be told, go and roll away the stone? And they didn't argue. And they went and rolled away the stone of a man, of the tomb of a man who had been dead for 4 days, already stinking. If you watch the gospel very well, people naturally believe in Christ. He met a man with a withered hand. He said, stretch forth your hand. No question. The man raised his hand. He said to the woman that was bound for 18 years. 18 years. He said, woman, thou art loosed. And no argument. This voice makes people not to doubt you. Perhaps you may need to challenge God and say, Lord, didn't you call me to a voice? Why am I at this level? And wake up. Wake up. Let's wake up to responsibilities. It is strength of impact that validates voice. Strength of impact. Which is to say, ministry is a call to impact making. Jesus came. John 5:25. Hear what Jesus said. The time is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice, not the noise, of the Son of Man, and they that hear shall live. It is voice that makes people to live. By the grace of God, and I believe several ministers here may have similar testimony. I've seen the poor raised by the voice, sick made whole by the voice, closed cases reopened favorably by the voice. I plead with you, you either go to God and ask him to restore your voice, or resign and do something else. Stop occupying the space instead of taking your place. Space is not your problem. Not understanding your place and standing there is where the problem is. We have today many people occupying the space in ministry, but not taking their place in ministry. And so Jesus confirmed that. John 11, they say Lazarus is dead. Jesus said your brother will live again. That's a voice. And when you take it from the, from verse 30 all the way, and then in 43, to save our time, he said, when he thus had spoken. Please let me ask you to raise your hand. From this time around, when you speak, heaven will confirm it. Every utterance from you will turn to a voice. Every declaration, every teaching will turn to the voice of the Lord. In Jesus' precious name we are prayed. God is raising voices. He said, when he had thus spoken, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. And he that was dead came out. He came out. What the dead responds to is voice. A voice carries life imparting virtues that produces breakthroughs, restoration, wonders, and miracles. As a minister, your statements must become a law backed up by heaven. Your words should become a decree enforced by angels. Psalm 103 verse 20. Bless ye the Lord, ye his angels, that hearken to what? The voice. That hearken to the voice of his word. So there is the word and there is the voice and the word. That's why you can be a very fine teacher of the word or a great preacher of the word, but because it does not carry a voice, angels are not responding. The strength of a voice is not in its volume of words or pitch or eloquence or the finesse, the grammatical arrangement. You can twist your tongue to be heard, but demons will not hear you. How forcible are right words. Job 6:25. But what doth your arguing reprove? Enticing words, trying to convince people. They don't listen to it. What they listen to is the forcible words. And that's the subject matter we're talking about. Hear this. It is voice that gathers people. An altar that flows with the voice is never too much for people to visit. Look at pastors who say people don't come to our church. Well, what do they go there to do when there is no voice there? John was in the wilderness. While others were struggling to enter the city was moving to meet him. Because he came as a voice in the wilderness. Jesus was in the desert, in the wilderness. They were following him at an instant for 3 days without food. I see, we need to get back to this raw gospel. We have tried to put too many methods in ministry today, and we are raising puppets. Today we try to encourage people, why don't you fast, even if it is till 4 p.m. Voice commands, noises appeals. Matthew 3, 5 and 6. John was preaching in the wilderness. Then went out of to him Jerusalem. Can you see that? The whole city. And all Judea and all the region round about Jordan. They went out to him and were baptized of him in Jordan, confessing their sins. His message was tough, but they were begging him to baptize them. You know what it means for soldiers to be begging civilians? He called them all kinds of names. Vipers, hypocrites. They said, please forgive us, it doesn't matter, just baptize us. Today we beg people to be saved, and they are not responding to us. No distance is too far for people to get a voice. Voice is always being sought after.